Welcome to Finding Your First Job, Fitting the Pieces Together. This presentation was developed with first-time job seekers in mind, that is, teens or young adults with little or no work experience. Finding your first job can seem overwhelming, but this presentation includes tips to help ease your anxieties and provides insights into successful job searching and preparation. As a career advisor, I'm often asked, where do I start? The key to job searching is networking. Due to 85% of the job opportunities being in the hidden market, it is important to build your social and professional network. What does this mean? This means building connections to individuals and groups in which you have a relationship or you want to develop a relationship. Most first-time job seekers find jobs because a family member, friend, fellow athlete or classmate, or an acquaintance knows of a job opening. My first job was babysitting for a family. I obtained this job after volunteering in the church nursery every Sunday. The parents got to know me and became more comfortable. My second, more official job was working in a local baby supply store similar to a mom and pop Babies R Us. While I did not have retail experience and at 15 did not have a child, I knew about children, given my volunteer experience, and was comfortable talking with parents, which helped land me the position. There are many ways to tap into and build your network. These are just a few of the areas to start examining when looking at identifying your network and building your network. The easiest and best place to start is with your personal relationships. These include immediate family, extended family, close friends, neighbors, and acquaintances. Other personal network relationships might include clergy, youth group leaders, and recreational groups in which you are involved, such as sports or community service organizations. Professional relationships include current or former coworkers, supervisors, vendors, or contractors you may have worked with in the past. Often this may not apply to new job seekers. However, as you're starting out in the workforce, you will develop a network. Be sure to keep those positive professional relationships. Associations would include alumni associations, community or volunteer organizations, cultural or civic organizations, advisory boards or board of directors, and certifying or licensing organizations. Again, as youth, you may not have many of these networks yet. Just remember, as you enter new networks, always work to build your network. Another networking relationship is known as opportunistic network relationships. These can include someone you meet at the gym, electronically or online networks, social media connections, or others you may know through what we call your first circle of connections, a friend of a friend, or your mother's best friend, etc. Lastly, job and career fairs are another good way to start establishing networks. These fairs, whether provided by your school, local college, or a hiring event, are great ways to meet business representatives and learn more about companies and obtain a referral to other people within those businesses. The next step of finding your first job, if you are young, is to understand your state's wage and labor laws and how to obtain a work certificate. The next few slides will highlight some of the key factors in the North Carolina's wage and labor laws as they relate to youth. You may also go to the Department of Labor website. A link will be provided on a later slide to review the laws in more detail. Work hour limitations for youth in North Carolina. Rules for 14 and 15-year-olds. 14 and 15-year-olds may not work more than 3 hours a day when school is in session for the youth and no more than 8 hours a day if school is not in session. They may only work between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. to 9 p.m. June 1st through Labor Day when school is not in session. A maximum of 18 hours per week when school is in session or 40 hours per week when school is not in session. Only outside of school hours and a 30-minute break is required after any period of 5 consecutive hours of work. Regulations for 16 and 17-year-olds include that during the school term, youth who are enrolled in grades 12 or lower cannot be employed from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. when there is school for the youth the next day. There is an exception when the employer gets written permission from the youth's parents and the principal. Some other youth labor restrictions to be aware of. Youths less than 14 years of age, work is generally not permitted for youths under 14 of age except when working for the youth's parents or in a home delivery of newspapers or in modeling or acting in a movie or theater production. For youths 14 to 15 years of age, work may be performed in retail businesses, food service establishments, service stations, and offices and other businesses. Work is not permitted in manufacturing, mining, on construction sites, with power-driven machinery, on premises of a business holding an ABC permit for the on-premise sale or consumptions of alcoholic beverages, or in hazardous or detrimental occupations. Youth 16 to 17 years of age cannot work in hazardous, detrimental occupations either. As stated earlier, for more information on the youth and labor restrictions in the state of North Carolina, please visit the Department of Labor state website to look up more specific information about youth employment rules. If you are familiar with youth employment restrictions, you need to know where to get a youth work certificate for North Carolina. The Youth Work Certificate can easily be completed online at the NC Department of Labor link below. You will need to have your parent or legal guardian sign and your employer sign the form. Your employer will maintain a copy of their certificate in their business files. See the website link listed on the slide for the application procedure. Now that you know how to get a youth certificate, where do you look for a job? Companies that are prone to hiring young workers tend to be restaurants, recreation and amusement centers, resorts, summer camps, automotive services or car washes, cleaning services, movie theaters, retailer, local small businesses, often known as mom and pop shops, or families who need child care, elderly care, lawn services, pet care, or house sitting. For tips for finding a job when you have no experience or limited experience, watch this YouTube video. Other ways to look for employment might be, again, your network. Let others know you are looking for work. Volunteer. Volunteering gives you work experience, skills, and builds your network. Local papers, job boards, high school guidance counselors, and additionally, listed on this slide are some helpful job search websites like NC Works, Indeed, Snag a Job, and Glassdoor. Take a few minutes to check out this article for more information on finding your first job. Now that you've found some job leads, do you need a resume? How do you fill out an application? What about online profiles? Some general tips for completing applications, profiles, and resumes are listed on this slide. The do's. Do create an email address that is appropriate. Use your name and numbers. Use free email sites that are available. You can use your email address to highlight a skill, or if you have a domain, you may use that as your email. The don'ts. Don't use nicknames for your email address. Don't try to be funny or sarcastic with your email address. And lastly, keep political and religious preferences and profanity out of your emails. Ringtones and voicemail. Make sure your greeting message is professional. Hello, you have reached Jane Doe. I am not available to answer at this time. Please leave your name and number and I will return your call as soon as possible. Thank you. This is a good example of a voicemail. Greeting. Be sure to speak clearly and remove any loud distractions in the background when recording your greeting. Turn off special ringtones that callers can hear when calling into your phone. A simple ring is all that is necessary. When returning a call and leaving a message to a potential employer, be sure to speak clearly, loudly, state your name and phone number, the reason you are calling, and repeat your name and phone number at the end of the message. For an example of a good voicemail etiquette, take a minute to watch this YouTube video link listed on the slide. When completing an application, be accurate and honest. Use correct spelling and grammar. Know names and contact information of any past employers, volunteer organizations, and references. It's a good idea to practice filling out a sample application. If you think you might have to complete an application on the spot, you may take the copy of the sample application with you to ensure you are filling out the application correctly and thoroughly. On this slide, you will find a link to an example sample application. Also, dress appropriately, business casual, when entering a business to request an application or when returning an application. When you do not have information to fill out on an application, rather than leaving the section blank, write in N/A or not applicable. This lets the employer know that you did not skip this section. Use action words when describing jobs, tasks, or volunteer tasks. We will talk about action words later in this presentation. See the link for examples of action words to assist you. First-time job seekers do not need to have a resume. However, it is always good practice to start learning how to write and build a resume. Some tips that can help you. Start with an outline, basic contact information, skills, any work or volunteer history you have, education, extracurricular activities, special training you might have, such as computer skills or trades, and special awards that might be important. Understand your skills. There are soft skills and hard skills. We will talk more about this in the next slide. Because you don't have a lot of work experience, you may not have a lot of hard skills, but never underestimate the power of soft skills, as employers often can train employees on hard skills, but they want employees with good soft skills or employability skills. Use action words when describing past work experience or volunteer experience. There are examples of action words in a later slide. Use job descriptions from the ONET to help you understand tasks you have completed on previous jobs or volunteer experiences. The link is listed on this slide. Use free templates to help you organize and create your first resume, such as Microsoft Word templates or the Resume Builder feature on the Carteret Community College's website. It is no longer necessary to include your address on your resume. Just your name, phone number, and email address are needed. Proofreading is essential. Most employers only have a few seconds to look at a resume, so errors are likely to get your resume thrown out. Have someone else review your resume before submitting it for a job. Be sure to tailor your resume for the job you are seeking. If you are seeking a restaurant job, customer service skills would be important to highlight. If you are seeking a clerical position, organizational skills would be important to highlight. This slide will give you an idea of soft and hard skills. Soft skills are interpersonal skills you need to succeed in a job. Hard skills are knowledge or skills learned through education or training. Take a minute to review some of these skills. This slide will help you better identify action words when completing a resume or job application. They usually can be classified by various types of job skills such as leadership, management, communication, financial, and etc. Take a moment to review these examples. Take some time to refer to this article and video for additional tips on resume writing. Now that you have found a potential job, submitted your application or resume, and you have an interview, let's talk about how to prepare. Take a few minutes to watch this YouTube video titled The Millennial Job Interview. This is a great example of what not to do on a job interview. As a career advisor, I cannot express how important it is to prepare well for a job interview. Here are a few tips. The more information you have prepared ahead of the interview, the better the impression you will make. Know how to get your youth work certificate and have a list of references, at least one character reference, and 2 references that can attest to your work history, soft skills, volunteer experience, and/or work ethic. Dress appropriately. Business casual is most likely what will be appropriate on a job interview unless you are interviewing in an establishment that requires formal business attire such as a bank or law office. Be on time. Arrive 5 to 10 minutes early, but no earlier than that. Plan your route, practice your route if you need to, taking into account traffic, school buses, and/or make sure you have a reliable ride. Even have a backup plan in case your ride falls through. Once introduced to your interviewer or interviewers, remember their names, shake hands firmly, and maintain eye contact. Research the position and the company. Use ONET to read a job description for the position to better understand typical responsibilities, skills needed, and work temperament required. This will help you best match your skills to their needs and sell your talents during the interview. Also, know about the company, what services they provide, what products they sell, and any other information you can find, such as their mission statement, how long they have been in business, and their strengths. Be polite. Manners are critical. Go to a job interview on your own. Even if you catch a ride with a family member or a friend, enter the waiting area and the interview alone. Have your ride wait in the car, or you can call them once the interview is over to come back and pick you up. Know your schedule, and remember employers are looking for flexibility. You may be asked about your availability, so knowing your schedule is important. But if there is a day of the week you can't work, you can offer flexibility, such as suggesting you don't mind working on weekends or holidays. Watch your body language. Sit still during an interview. No foot tapping, leg shaking, or fidgeting in your seat. Sit up straight, no slouching. Maintain eye contact, and a firm handshake is always recommended. Have questions prepared to ask the interviewer. Generally, near the end of an interview, an employer will ask if you have any questions. It is essential to have 2 to 3 questions prepared. Practice interviewing before the interview. You can do mock interviews with a family member, friend, coach, mentor, guidance department, or contact NC Works if you need assistance. Dressing for an interview. Know what is appropriate and what is not. Here are some examples of appropriate and inappropriate dress for an interview. Appropriate attire would include button-down or collared shirt with dark slacks or khakis, casual dress shoes, limited jewelry and makeup, and young men should wear belts. Inappropriate attire would include jeans, shorts, crop tops, short skirts, flip-flops, tennis shoes, baseball caps, wrinkled clothing, earbuds or headphones, too much makeup or perfume or cologne, and it is advisable to remove facial piercings such as nose rings, tongue rings, or more than one earring. Good hygiene is also important, such as being showered, hair styled neatly, and nails trimmed. On this slide, you will find some of the commonly asked questions in an interview. Take time to prepare responses and prepare them prior to the interview. Behavioral questions are more common presently. These are questions that require you to draw on experience to answer a question. such as, tell me a time when you were late on a deadline. What happened and how did you correct the situation? This slide provides some sample questions you might ask an interviewer. Be sure to have 2 or 3 questions ready to ask at an interview. These articles and videos are some more great resources in helping you prepare for an interview. Because you prepared so well, the interview went great. Now what do? It might sound old-fashioned, but it is always recommended that you follow up with a thank you note as soon as possible. If you have the email address of the interview, send a thank you note that same day. If not, try to get a typed thank you note in the mail the same day or the next morning. The slide provides an example of a thank you letter. If you have questions or need more assistance or resources, please feel free to contact me. Good luck!